All right. Welcome to Makin' Music. I'm Gary from Guitar Showcase, and this is part two of the famous Doug Doppler and his Ibanez collection. Now, Doug, you're an Ibanez endorsee. How does that work? Which is the proper term now?
That's actually a very good question, and it depends. Because I see myself as an endorser because as an artist, you kind of choose which company you're going to endorse. So I become an endorser. But at the same time, I'm an endorsee because I'm endorsed by Ibanez. But generally speaking, at a certain point in your career, if you're really the way it works with guitar companies, if you have enough notoriety and visibility, or somebody there likes you, and sees that there's some potential with your career that they're interested in endorsing, you become an endorsee. And certainly when I started with Ibanez over 10 years ago, I was very much an endorser. An endorser implies that you actually have some clout in the business and people are actually seeking you out.
Right.
Whereas an endorsee is like, please take me, which is, very much the first phone call I made.
Well, after 10 years, as an endorser of Ibanez and a favored nation artist, now we like that. We talked about that on last week's show a little bit. Now tell me just a little bit about the people you play with.
I've been really fortunate to play with actually a pretty large variety of people. And I was really lucky in high school. I was able to study Triani. And being around somebody like that, you kind of get a chance to meet the people that are around them as well. And, I think in many ways, the music business it seems like this mysterious thing. It's like a castle with a moat, And the moat's this impenetrable, all these alligators that are going to get you. And really, if you know people, you begin to realize that they're just normal people. Actually, the funny thing is that, people expect that, musicians who are so gifted in one area are going to be gifted equally in all their different areas. And actually, the funny thing is that knowing a lot of different musicians, most of them are really gifted at particularly one thing. You've got a guy like Joe Satriani who's gifted at everything. He's a brilliant producer. He's a brilliant guitar player. He's a brilliant bass player. He plays.
Really?
He's a functional father and married man. He's the exception. He's really
an exception.
It's so rare.
It is. Well, how'd you get started in the music industry?
As a kid, at age 4, do you guys remember Arthur Fiedler and the Boston?
Yes.
My stage debut was my parents took me to the Boston Pops. I was 4, and at the end of the evening, they went to look for me, and I was gone. And they looked up on the stage, and there I was conducting the audience. So that, I think, was technically debut. And as a kid, I sang with a group called the San Francisco Boys Chorus and did some work with the San Francisco Opera Company and actually had a solo role in one of the operas. And my dad was a big opera fan. So for him, this was a big deal. He was so excited. He got to, because he was a season ticket holder. So there he was, seeing one of the shows that was in his season group. And there's his son. I'm sure it must have been a really good moment for him.
Oh, I bet it was. So did you play in some bands as through high school and that sort of thing?
I actually don't think I furnished you with the long darky locks, but I used to have, of course, the appropriate mane and boots. I'm no longer wearing boots, and actually back in the day they had these little things that kind of went around the boots. You remember the little what do you call those boot trailers? Yeah. Cowboys wouldn't be seeing them, but rock and roll guys.
Bikers, rock and roll.
So there was a band I was in called Captain Crunch that was actually a really, really good band, and we came close, Okay. And then I put out an instrumental record in '95, and ran it out of my bedroom, and actually in many ways that laid an important work that we were able to build upon with this next release. So it was really valuable.
So let's talk about your next release real quick here.
Please.
Tell us about it. You have a CD coming out.
Well, I have what's getting ready to come out is the new DVD.
Oh, the new DVD.
Whammy. Whammy Bar Mojo, ladies and gentlemen.
So this is the new DVD, Whammy Bar Mojo.
Yes. How to annoy your neighbors,
Uh-huh.
and hopefully not annoy your parents, so you can go out and buy my next DVD at Guitar Showcase or a store like that.
That's right.
So the point being is that that we're getting ready to release that within. It'll probably be out March 1st, somewhere right around there.
Good.
And
A lot of people need to know the technique for proper use.
well, it's kind of like driving a car. You wouldn't want to just have somebody go out and just start driving.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. They're dangerous.
Right.
You could hurt yourself.
Sure, sure. And so you, in addition to having that whammy bar on there, is that a Floyd Rose type
Is the Ibanez
equivalent?
low TRS?
Low TRS.
Low TRS. And yeah, so it's the equivalent of Ibanez's version of the Floyd Rose. It's what's called a double locking tremolo.
Right.
The strings lock up here and they lock down there. Such that when you you flog the daylights out of the bar, it still stays in tune.
Still in tune.
Still in tune.
Not string too many there, though.
I've got one string too many. I've been strung up.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah. It's better than being strung out.
That's right.
Okay, now
Absolutely.
see, here's the deal. This is a 7-string guitar, and it's got a low. So it gives you that nice kind of modern kind of mold. Notice the reach over with the left hand for the volume control. That's on the DVD too. Actually, I'm just demoing it. I don't show people.
So
how to do
these
that.
are some cool techniques that you're going to teach people on your DVD.
The thing about Whammy Bar is that, you kind of think about hitting the string and using the bar, but really if you're going to do something, as you do single note stuff like that, if you don't have the other strings quiet, you're going to get this. Versus where you just hear that one string ringing, and a big part of it is learning how to control on one. So the funny thing is, you think of a whammy bar, you don't think of technique. And it's not so much the technique with the bar, though the way you reach for the bar and the way you learn to cradle it without making the guitar go flat when you're just wanting to cradle the bar. That's part of the technique of the bar, but so much of it has to do with the way you kind of learn to individual strings with the left hand and make sure other strings don't want to start ringing.
Okay, so there's a lot to it.
There's more to it than I realized when I started it.